Got to get the air out. And this is more like what so you see the value of the spring. It's even moving through that stop better than it did the first time. Now, for me, the big thing here is that it was just strictly a test. It's not like I was planning on using the sprinkler for anything particular, but it was a part that I did, back 50 years ago when I'd cut off and tried to add weight to the front so that the intensity of the movement was greater. Um, and one of the things I used to do is actually try to drill out the nozzle a little bit to increase the water flow. And I don't think the breakup of the stream actually helps here very much. If any. Now, it appears to me that there is more flow of water. The arm is coming out further than it did before. Okay, this is Randy's Sprinklers again. And we're going to do this a little different today. So you guys get a chance to see this in operation. So this is the one that I did, I think it's 2 videos ago. And of course it didn't look anything like this. So a couple things have changed, and we're gonna, after this shuts off, then we're going to, or I have to go shut it off, we're going to take and show you the details. Now this is not going very fast, but then there's a good reason for it. The sprinkler in general is working fine. And you see that it has a very slow pace. And in the probably not as fast as the yellow one. Not as fast as the yellow one, but this should be more than sufficient. Oh wow, what a difference. That's the difference with that nylon washer in there. That's how much easier and smoother that runs. Look at that. Wow. So the one thing I like about these, this particular design sprinkler with the um, anti-backslash PJ arm is that these are designed with a tube as opposed to the new models, which are designed with an open design. And the problem with most of those is that they're designed so that they have like a little bit of a lip on the end so that it goes more to the right. And so consequently, it defeats the purpose of what's supposed to be an anti-backslash arm. But I think for some of them, I don't think they care because before it was just a tiny little strand. And see, the other thing too is with the small stream that it had, the Gilmore sprinkler didn't move very fast. And not that it has to move like lightning fast or anything. This just performs so much better, puts more water down, and of course the deflector is just completely useless. And the one thing that I have said over and over about the way the Nelson Gilmore Company have done this, and you see that these stops are single lever stops, and that is such a huge advantage. It certainly moved faster when I had my finger on it. Now I'm actually pushing down a little bit on it, and you can see it moves a lot quicker. So I know where the O-ring is need to probably remove or wash a bit. Wow, actually working. because I already took the nylon washer out of there. I mean, in general, it's working. But what's slowing it down? Probably the O-ring. So it seems to keep going faster and faster each time. One of the disadvantages to this body is it doesn't have a diffuser on it. It only has, okay, we'll continue where we left off. So what you're looking at here is, this is the test with the O-ring and nylon washer only. And the nylon washer is on the bottom and the O-ring is on the top of the nylon washer. I didn't expect that to be the better way to go, but you can see by the results, it operates very well in that condition. So it's like the O-ring isn't becoming a problem. The nylon washer isn't a problem. And the neat thing about it is when I turn the water, look at that. Now it's going right on through it. And that lighter spring is just enough pressure to allow it to do what it needs to do. And I'm not impressed by this sprinkler at all, but at the same time, it does work. And the one that I showed yesterday with the anti-backsplash tube actually works better than this one, and it doesn't require a spring. Continue where I was left off with this, and so you can see on the back side is the trip lever. And I mentioned about the trip. This is the trip lever, this is the trip mechanism. These are stops. The collar actually is on the sleeve. So you see the sleeve. This is also what they call a bearing on the brass models like this. That's a bearing. So we got the sleeve. The collar is what these stops are attached to. And the threads, in this case, these are male threads. And if you want, you can bring that up and move that around to the other side. Your center pin, your body, your spring, your arm. This one's a spoon arm, as you can see. You have your deflector, the diffuser. So on a lot of these, you have both the deflector and the diffuser. Years ago, in the early ones, which I don't have sitting here, the brass models had the diffuser and the plastic models had the deflector. And eventually the plastic models came out with the diffuser as well. So then you had both. Of course, the deflector wasn't too good on the early models either.
So it's made a lot of improvements over the years, and I'm going to show you that as well. So then we come down to, well, of course you have the nozzle, which is here. These actually screw out, which is very nice and handy. Just as in on this big one, the nozzle screws out. The reverse mechanism on the back, in this case, is much different than what we saw here. So this one seems very simple by comparison, but this particular mechanism design has been a very long running standard. And in this case, this has a little spring right there in the very center that, and sometimes they're on the top side as opposed to the bottom side. It's just the way this one is done. So this lever trips and then forces the top lever, which affects this going forward or backwards. So then we have your bearing sleeve. This actually is a bearing as well as the sleeve, which houses the stops, and they sit on the collar portion of the bearing sleeve. There is this O-ring I think I put on there thinking that it would help with the potential leaking, but in this case it didn't make any difference. Then you have this spring in there which helps stabilizes the rotation. So one of the things that is that was a problem in the early days on a lot of sprinklers with the spoon arm, and this is not one of them. They didn't have a spring here, no spring. And so consequently, it was on the loose side. And what happens is, with the spoon arm design, you would get the body wobble. And so it would hit going forward, but as the arm came back, then it would make this body wobble back and forth. Not is so evident on the brass models, but more evident on the older plastic models. Don't think I see it. I don't have any plastic models that are built today with a spoon arm. They almost all have a PJ arm, or what we call an anti-backsplash arm. So let me go back to the base here with the bearing sleeve. The collar is the area where these trip levers, these stops, these are actual stops, that sit on that collar area. And then of course, below that is, on a lot of these is a black, then a black rubber washer, a nylon washer, and then another rubber washer. On this one only has the nylon and the black washer. And I think in a lot of cases, you probably can get away with just the nylon and the rubber washer, but it varies from sprinkler to sprinkler.